Because in the studio this morning, let's talk about this. While the Christchurch Paranormal Investigators New Zealand, they're a professional group of people who investigate and research, would you believe, paranormal activity right here in Christchurch. And the Christchurch Paranormal Investigators was founded by Anton Heyrick in 2010 because he said there was a growing market for this. He is in the studio and now joins me. Good morning to you.
Yeah, good morning, Chris. Good morning, listeners.
Great to have you on the program this morning. Let's discuss this. You decided to, I suppose, create this paranormal investigators group in New Zealand because you believed there was a market for this. Tell me more about that. Why?
I think the reality for CPINZ, I had been a part of other teams, and there is this growing thing taking place, and this is throughout the world, of these teams creating themselves due to what they've seen and learnt from TV shows. And the reality is that it's entertainment based. Everyone loves them. I love them. But that's what they are. They're for entertainment. So CPINZ was founded off the base that we were going to have a real go at trying to change how this field was sort of processed and investigated. And that's what we've done. We've worked really, really hard. There's still a long way to go, and I think this field is only just starting to breach the boundaries of what it can go through. But it's an exciting field. And we're here just to continue this research. And
I have to say, you are internationally recognised. Various American documentary teams have followed your crew around, haven't they?
We have. We've been lucky enough to work with some interesting teams. Again, some of those are those TV shows that we talk about. Interesting shows, and absolutely love them. But a lot of the interest actually came from the Canterbury earthquakes. After the earthquakes, we released some information based on what we felt was going on and an increase of claims to us. And these international companies, they listened to this and they thought this was pretty interesting. And there is a real research market in the energies released in earthquakes and paranormal. And so it was a really interesting time working with those big, production-based companies.
What I find interesting, Anton, is that you yourself are a bit of a skeptic. You don't come into this thinking ghosts, that's it, they're everywhere in Canterbury. You are a skeptic in a way yourself, aren't you?
I am, Dad. I mean, I think it's important. CPINZ as a whole, we decided that what we would do is we would take a real neutral stance to how we were going to approach this, the claims coming in from the clients. I myself, personally, obviously, this started for me when I was 13, 14. I was diagnosed with cancer, Hodgkin's disease. During the chemotherapy, some pretty significant, let's say, paranormal happenings took place for me in one of the houses that we were staying at while we were living in Christchurch. And the truth is that looking back now, these things could have been a manifestation of my fears, my anger, everything that was going on. But what took place was incredibly scary, and there was nobody there, to help me. And so I think the importance of taking the skeptical stance, is that it really opens the door to us looking across the board and being able to bring a certain level of professionals into our team, which is a real first within, especially in the Southern Hemisphere, to actually create a team where you're focused solely on trying to connect with professionals that will work this team well.
With the greatest respect, you don't think perhaps because of your illness you may have been experiencing hallucinations from the medication you were on?
Absolutely. The possibility is there, and that is, I've looked into it, and this is the journey that it followed through. Had there been somebody like myself or like CPINZ back then, I think there would have been a lot better answers for me. But I had to take that journey myself and try to understand it. And I think it was important for me that I really researched all areas of what could have been going on. But what I do know is that it was very, very frightening what was taking place. And you felt very out of control.
Let's discuss some of the equipment you use, because you use is it like a mobile caravan or something? It looks pretty flash. Tell me about that.
Absolutely. Well, see, right now we've dubbed it the RRV, the Rolling Research Vehicle.
Right.
Now it's not completely complete, but this thing again is one of the first that we've seen in New Zealand that has solely been built for the purpose of paranormal investigation. Now the purpose of this is to basically give us a sort of mobile lab, and being able to incorporate technology that again hasn't been seen or used throughout this field. And we've solely focused on really researching and understanding the types of equipment, but also the types of reasons on why you would want to use that equipment. Electromagnetic fields or EMF meters are used throughout the field largely. Now for CPINZ, the reason that we want to use that is we've got a good understanding of what could be taking place when a high level of EMF, could affect, a human's mind. So we want to ascertain whether there are high levels in a house, not whether or not a ghost is peaking, creating an EMF.
Right, and that's the difference, I suppose.
That is the difference.
Actually, that was the next question I was going to ask you, Anton, is, I guess, explain for me, in your view, what you think paranormal activity is. What is the definition of paranormal activity in your mind?
I mean, I think for me, there is a huge psychological part that takes place. And I think psychology holds a massive key to the world of paranormal. And so I think, what we do know is that there are natural energies, and these energies can be made through man-made occurrences as well. And these energies, they affect us, and they affect us in different ways. So you and I could walk into a room with, say, 10 Gauss of electromagnetic fields, and I would react completely different to you. So I might start getting the heebie-jeebies, the feeling up my back, whereas you would feel absolutely nothing. And I think it's key to understanding that. So, I think for me personally, psychology is going to hold a massive key, but at the same time, spirituality, religious spirituality, I think that holds another massive key. I think into understanding that, the beliefs that have been set upon people, and that stuff is very, very strong, and people's personal beliefs are very, very strong. So one person believing and one person not believing, we send them into one room and both tell them the same sort of things. One's going to come out going, well, why did we bother? And the other's going to come out going, that was amazing. I experienced everything from voices to shadows. So again, I think that comes back to psychology again.
What we might do, Anton, is we'll open up the phone lines. If people have got any questions for you, serious questions, you're more than welcome to give us a call. We're trying to keep an open mind here this morning. 340-1098 or 0800 80 1080 if you have a question for Anton. Now is the time. Get on the phone. Don't be shy. Don't be embarrassed. We've all got questions we want answered. So let's have that discussion this morning. The lines are open. 340-1098 or 0800 80 1080. Tell us about some of the investigations you've carried out in the Canterbury region.
Obviously in Canterbury, it's been an interesting time. I think the sad thing for us right now, though, is the Canterbury earthquakes has removed a lot of our history, and we continue to see the loss of history. I think the New Zealand Academy, better known as Maclean's Mansion, has now been said that it's going to be demolished. Well, we had the go-ahead from its owner just after the earthquakes to do that. I think one of the investigations that probably sticks out would be Addington Prison. Obviously, Addington Prison was quite a significant prison in Christchurch back in the day and housed some pretty significant criminals of Christchurch's time. CPINZ was very, very new. In fact, it was the first investigation that we had done. And that was an interesting investigation. And again, a lot of evidence-based stuff came out of that. We had a lot of AFP, which stands for audio frequency phenomena, and some real interesting stuff. You expect in a prison like that you possibly could get some bad language and things like that, and that is exactly what we got from a place like that.
So you experienced noises?
Exactly, and again, AFP basically is us recording the environment with voice recorders, and there's lots of different things that we will attempt to do during that, and usually once we're at that point, it's after we've sort of gone through everything we can from a scientific point of view. Wherever it's applicable, we attempt to get rid of that, work through that, and then we're at a point where it's like, well, okay, the possibility is this could be going on, so let's see if we can gain communication of some type. And so it's those types of things are very, very interesting. Do
any of your mates say you're nuts?
Absolutely.
Do people say you're barking mad, you're wasting your time?
My father's one of those. He cracks up laughing at me every time I talk about it. And that's absolutely fine. And again, that skepticism is what keeps us real and keeps us honest.